We are indeed live.
Question mark. We're still struggling with the tech every once in a while, folks. But
Says I'm live.
as soon as I see it on my Facebook, I'll share it from there to let everybody know.
So we've got some pretty cool updates to discuss today.
Yeah, we had to take a little break. Work and life got in the way, and
All right.
snow,
It says
and
I'm live.
exhaustion. Oh, cool. I hear me talking about me.
Check. Can you check yours and see?
I don't see it on the. Oh, nope. All I see is your profile picture. So obviously it's coming through your phone. It just hasn't hit mine. So let's just get rolling.
I usually have to toggle on the permission to allow it or to make it public, but I'm struggling to see that option.
Yeah, let's just go. Let's go.
All right. Well, why don't you do the old intro?
Me? I
Mm-hmm.
should do that? Oh, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and everyone in between, how you doing? NOLA Film Scene is live on the air, and we're coming to you with some announcements. We have a really cool thing happening this week, and some cool projects we've done in our daily lives to share with you. And
Yeah.
we like talking.
Yeah.
And that's it. Goodbye. Good night, folks.
Thank you and good night. Well,
So what we have going on this week, we've crossed over with another podcast, and it's anecdotes from Bob Krieger, and we'll be sharing the links all on our social media. You can find them on YouTube under LA Film School, although there might be a couple people with that name, so it's I had trouble searching. I had to go straight to links, and he wanted to interview us and our friends Michelle Bouquet, if I pronounce that right, and Dave
Burdick,
Burdick. Thank you. Getting lost in those last names. And you're TJ Sebastian.
Sebastian.
had to spread it out fair.
Today.
Yeah, yeah. So on Thursday, that's when he drops his podcast, and we drop ours on Wednesday. So part one of this crossover Thursday on his, and you'll see all five of us talking. It's a YouTube video. You'll love it. But for part two, we're moving our usual Wednesday drop to Thursday, and we're going to turn the tables on him and interview him alone. Ooh.
That's right.
Struggling with the tech. I know you are, sir. But it was a lot of fun. He asked us to talk about our 48 experience from the 48 International or the 48 kickoff that we did, party at the end of the universe, where TJ danced.
I did dance.
Probably never see it again, folks. But
Actually, I danced in another project just a week later. So I've
what?
danced. That's right. So I mean, I think Fiona would be proud of me that I danced because, we talked about that inhibition when we interviewed her.
Right.
She was a professional dancer. And I'm sure that's a weird thing to hear somebody say that they're not comfortable with it. But yeah, I got to dance in two projects.
Congratulations. I'm proud of you. And I don't think there's anything weird about that at all. I have two left feet if I'm
Mm,
lucky. You know what I mean?
yeah.
To say I'm a spaz on the dance floor is a lot.
Well, I mean, I guess if you can't be good, be a spaz, right?
Yeah. We had this scene. It got cut. It was a movie, Come On, Come On. And that was Joaquin Phoenix. And it's all in black and white. And this was like a dream sequence that they actually cut. They had one at the beginning, one at the end. And then it's a white room, floor to ceiling. So coming from outside, you had to wash your shoes and then put those booties on them. and then walk in and take those booties off to go onto the set. And so picture like a line, like getting on at an airport, like getting on an airplane. And the camera's on a dolly. And what they're going to do is pass by you standing, and then they come back. And they had 2 or 3 cameras, so they would catch angles that they didn't have to move the camera. And they said, first pass, stand there. When we come back, then start dancing. I'm not a real big dancer, but it's supposed to be hit you slow and let it grow to the, it'll get weirder as they keep going back and forth. So the first time I was kind of like, all right. I got my hand up, and then I just pretended I had a glass in my hand and was drunk dancing. One guy 2 feet away from me went from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. And he went.
How'd that go?
I'm not saying that's why that sequence got cut. But that's another thing I've done I've never seen. Like, oh.
But that's probably why it got cut.
I don't know. They ended up they ended up not using it either one. Because I guess because the rest of it was so grounded. And that was we filmed right before the pandemic. So then get it even into the editing booths. Still had to deal with the quarantine, so I think I can't say it was a rush to get it out, but it seemed like it was a struggle because it took a long time. But it was fun.
Did everything that you did in that film get cut, or just that one scene?
That's all I had was that one scene.
And
it wasn't bad. The director was really cool. My brain wants to say Mike Nichols, and that's not right because that's a totally different director. But you can look up Come On, and see which director. We were talking about my memory before. I don't want to hear it, TJ. I didn't know I was going to talk about this. But there's a thing called extras holding. And you might have heard us talk about that before. It's just a room where the extras sit. Actors have their thing. The crew's doing their stuff. There's on set. And a lot of directors, you don't exist to them. Sometimes barely on set as an extra, as background. You barely exist to them. Not this guy. Came in because we had been waiting there all day. Shook hands. I don't know if he took pictures with people, but it was real gracious, real warm guy. And then when we finished, we're walking out. He and the crew clapped for us. So he made sure we were appreciated in that class.
That's
all
cool.
I can say is class, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So what have you been up to lately, sir?
It's actually been a pretty busy couple of months with film projects, fortunately. I did a drama through the church. I helped the youth director, put on the Easter drama, and I had a monologue. I played the demon-possessed man. I know that's, I'm sure it's probably hard to picture me as a
typecasting. I understand.
A desolate, homeless guy. Anyway, yeah. And just a few other small film projects. We did the Kickoff 48 with Michelle. I did a project with Armando Leduc, a film project that he's got going on. And I found out that I won an award. So thank you. Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah, thank you. There's that. It was for Mr. Headcase, which was my first ever lead role. And I won. It was for the Georgia Southern Shorts Awards. And the award was an award of merit for acting. And several people from that project won awards. The director, the producers, other cast members, 9 awards. It looks like that film won.
Sweet.
So,
and it's good. I've seen it.
Thank you. Yeah,
that was you as a crazy homeless person.
Thank you. That was an eye-opening experience for me on set. I learned a ton being on set with that project. Everybody was really welcoming, and there was varying degrees of experience between people on that set. A lot of them had a good bit of experience, so there was a lot to glean from that. So I'm really excited about that. It was really kind of a cool thing for me.
I can't wait for that to just go public. I think you're going through the festivals with that too, or they are.
Yeah, there's another festival. It got accepted into another one. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is, but yeah, I think pretty soon it'll be able to be viewed publicly.
Yeah, I think other than getting the job, I guess it classifies under waiting.
Yeah,
Waiting is the hardest part of this business for us.
hurry up and wait, right? Wait
Yeah,
to post pictures, wait to talk about it, wait to yeah,
rush
wait to
there to
show it.
get to the set, go wait. But I've got, we talked about it before. Indigo, The Last Days was a movie I did, and that's on Amazon Prime with
That's
Justin.
huge. That's
Yeah, thank you,
huge.
Justin. Hear me with last name. Kamoosh and Kayla Walker. Sorry, Moochie, if I pronounced it wrong. Forget my old brain. I'm so sorry. Um, Wheel of Heaven, where I play Death, has a distributor. Yeah,
Aha, congratulations.
thank you. But there's the director said we got a distributor, but with indie films, it could take 6 to 9 months to come out. And it's like we filmed ours in like 2021. Like my scenes in October, November. It's like,
Yeah.
and then Death Trip, the one where I played like 6 different parts, and you know, it was my first speaking line. I almost finished with post production, but because it's no budget and it's not going to like a house, to a production house, it's whenever the people are off from their real jobs of, working in the film industry to edit the sound.
Yeah.
And it's like a black hole. As the closer you get to the event horizon, time just stretches out.
Hmm.
So it's a lot. Impunity. We went to a second festival. That's one
Nice.
where I played the stepdad. Yeah, and I love that little film. It's a short film. It's a student film. I got to play a stepdad, and I won't say whether he's good, evil, or indifferent. But anytime you step into a family, step into a family, you're
Huh?
gonna have to
Huh?
deal with the you'll have to deal with the angst of the teenager. So there's gonna be friction, and I'll leave it at that. But I can say it this way: the audience sometimes gasped at what I said.
Yeah. I definitely saw a different side of you, and it was really cool to see you use your range for that project. I think people are used to seeing you play the jovial, funny guy, and to see, I don't think it's a secret that it's not a comedy movie, right?
Right. Yeah.
So to see a different side of you was really something.
Well, I'm gonna quote you to you. You said I gave you chills, and we won't go into the why, but it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So I scared TJ for once.
Yeah. Speaking of scares,
Mm,
we do have another project to plug. Not really a project, but we sat down with Tony Gibson. We had some technical difficulties. We actually had it planned for a live stream with him. But when we planned that, it was right after some pretty heavy thunderstorms around here. I had
mhm.
some equipment in my home that was damaged and they were working on the internet in the area. And I didn't have a good stable connection for a little while there. So there were some issues. We tried two different times and we just could not make it happen. Things finally calmed down and I went and sat down in person with Tony and we talked and covered things. So he's got a film that he's going to be producing called Immortal Invitations. And out of that film script, he developed with another writer a book. So he turned the screenplay into a book. Usually it's the
Yeah.
other way around. And that book is out. So it's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and a few other areas. We'll have it linked in his podcast episode. And we're planning to release that next week. So if you haven't gotten it yet, go out and check out his book, Immortal Invitations, and look for the episode with him next week. He talks about the book and what inspired it, and of course, how he got into the film industry to begin with. So be on the lookout for that.
That's anecdotes this Thursday.
Yep. With
Check
Bob
our
Krieger.
socials and we'll direct you to it if you can't find it. And then that's part one. Part two, our podcast, NOLA Film Scene, which you already know since you're watching this, where we talked to Bob Krieger. And then the following week on Wednesday, back to the normal drop, Tony Gibson.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, we normally release our episodes on Wednesdays, but to stay in sync with Bob as part two to his episode, we're pushing it a day. So we're going to release this live stream tomorrow in our normal slot as a teaser for Thursday. And Thursday, part two of Bob's podcast will come out. And then next week we'll be back to our regular schedule.
Easy for you to say.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Good talking to you, folks. We'll see you on the boards.
See y'all next time.